So this video is all about developing you and developing your team. And we're looking at this over four main areas. So hold tight to see what those four areas are. First area, which I think is the most important one, if you want to grow your business, and that is how you think. How much do you believe is possible for your business? What do you think you can achieve? What do you think your staff can achieve? I'm going to tell you it's much more than you think right now. Let me tell you something. If someone else has done what you want to do, then it's also possible for you to do that thing as well. Those people aren't any different to you. When they started out on that journey, most of the time that they were in exactly the same or maybe even a worse position than you are now. Don't look at people like Richard Branson and think that he's achieved everything because he had millions and millions of pounds. I don't know how much money he had when he first started out. It's probably a lot more than the media let you believe. But instead of looking at it from that viewpoint, think about it as, yes, okay, they might have had more money, but that just means that they were slightly higher up, a slightly higher step on the ladder to you. I mean, you're not going to build a space rocket and take people into space next week, but neither was Richard Branson 50 years ago. The reason that you see these so-called ultra successful billionaires now is because they've climbed those steps on the ladder, and at every level on that ladder, they've looked at what next step up might be. But the thing that separates you from them, and it's the only thing that separates you, do you know what that is? It's just about what they believed was possible. It was about what they believed was possible for them to achieve. Whilst most people think their biggest dream is having a toy plane, these ultra successful people think about how they might own an entire airline. It's just that difference in how they think. So I hope that I can in some way make you think differently about your business and what you believe is possible to achieve. The next area I want to talk about is personal development. Now, during this program, you're going to learn about personality type, and we'll look at creating a type of development plan to help you improve within that special niche subject area of your profile. But personal development is more than just that. I suppose you can say that personal development covers everything that we're talking about in these videos, and even more besides all of that. It's the whole rounded 360 degree of every area of your life and developing each of those areas. It's about having a plan for all areas of your life. And some people use a tool called the Wheel of Life, where you start out by grading yourself in 6 to 8 different areas, such as your health, your family life, your finances, your relationship, etc., etc. And that's graded between 1 to 10. And then the aim is to improve your score in each of those areas until, in theory, you get to 10 in all of them. By the way, I've included what we call the personal business plan in the compass stage of the program. Which is section 2, where you can use it to plan and improve each area of your life as part of that the plan to develop your business. So you automatically improve one as you work on the other. Now, when most people hear the words personal development, they instantly think about sitting listening to gurus in rooms packed full of people, and they're all cheering or whatever brainwashing that's being done by the guru. But personal development is much more than that. Yes, you can attend a live event like a motivational speech, but personally, I don't think that they really do anything to achieve what you want. The people that attend generally leave the event all hyped and ready to go, but the thing that's missing is there's no real life connection between what they've heard and their real life. No real connection to tell them how to use that information and take whatever actions. And then what you find is the same people will then attend the next event and the next event after that, and they're just sitting there listening, and nothing ever happens. I personally think this is why the subject of personal development has a bad image with a lot of people. So what is personal development for you? Well, it all starts with that Wheel of Life assessment. It's about thinking about your life in each of those areas and scoring it out of 10 as to what you'd like your life to be like instead. Maybe one area is exactly how you want it. Maybe it's 10 out of 10. Where are you on that scale? And then the personal development part comes from then onward. What do you need to do to improve each area of your life? So you start with one area. Let's say it's relationships. So let's imagine as an example that you've scored yourself 1 out of 10 for relationships because you want to be in a relationship, but you're single. and you've been single for as long as you can remember. So the personal development comes in by asking yourself, right, what do you need to do? What do you need to learn, etc. Who do you need to become to move up that scale from just 1 to 2? You're just moving up by one part on that scale. The next area I want to talk about is physical well-being. This relates to both your physical and your mental health. The machine can only deliver its best results if it gets good quality fuel to feed it. You wouldn't expect a robot to do a very good job if its power supply kept being cut off. What goes inside you is what will materialize and come out of you as the end result. So if you put junk inside you, you'll get junk results out in terms of how productive you are, your mood, your general well-being, your being depressed or having mood swings. Do you remember the last time you had a really bad hangover, how you felt? Well, if you think about it, that was a direct reflection of what you put inside you a few hours earlier. It might have felt good at the time, but you put lots of rubbish inside you, alcohol, fast food, whatever else. And a few hours later, your body was reacting to all of that toxic rubbish. So this tells you how you fix the problem and prevent it from happening in the future. This is just cause and effect. But it goes deeper than just food and drink that you put inside you. It's also dictated by your environment and your surroundings. For example, if you're around people that are negative in how they talk and act, they're always complaining about something, how does that make you feel in yourself? You might start to be on their wavelength and frequency, or it might just bring you down and you start to feel like your energy is being dragged out of you. That's how these people make me feel. So it's about environment and how you can try to improve that. So let's get into this area in a bit more depth. We'll start with nutrition, what you eat and drink. And this all comes down to how much energy you have. Food is your energy, along with a few other things like exercise and sunlight. And one thing that most people on the planet don't understand is, and something I learned for myself in the last few years, is that around 70% of the population is intolerant to certain foods. When I say intolerant, I mean their body just can't digest them. So they sit in their gut just decomposing. Now imagine that what that's doing to their body and their energy levels if the food is just rotting away in the gut. And it's this type of thing that's caused me to have things like acid reflux and migraines in the past. How many people watching this video do you think have acid reflux and take tablets from the doctors for it? Quite a high proportion, I'd say, because everyone I know has it. That's 70%. And I learned this myself because I went through absolute hell and pain in my body, all caused by this. It took about 6 years of going through this, everything from irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, migraines, every day for weeks at a time. Acid reflux that was so bad I was being sick in my mouth at least 2 or 3 times a day, despite taking loads of tablets and all the different medicines for it. But the worst thing was not being able to breathe. After every meal, I would literally be breathless. You know what it's like when you've gone out for food and you've stuffed yourself a bit too much, and you just need to take that deep breath, but you're so full it's just painful, and you just can't manage to get your breath. Well, I was breathless all the time. I used to dread eating anything because I knew as soon as I'd eaten, that would be me struggling to breathe for about 3 hours afterwards. And I didn't stuff myself. I would feel that way after just eating a sandwich or a piece of cake. And that isn't to say that if you're not in that breathless state, then you're not intolerant. That was just a symptom for me. I haven't heard of anyone else that has that. So I'd been to get all kinds of scans at the hospital. I'd had X-rays on my lungs. I had cameras inside my stomach and in my guts. I'd even been told by the doctor that he thought I got stomach cancer because of my symptoms. And then on the last visit to the hospital, and actually my last visit to any medical practice since then, this was the start of 2015, that the surgeon actually said to me, it's the food that I'm eating that is causing the problem. And that was the start of a discovery journey that is actually still ongoing now. Although 8 years on, I'm so much in a better place for it health-wise than I was back then. It's just that it took this time to test different foods and see how my body reacted. So since starting this journey, I discovered that 90% of the population are intolerant to 8 types of foods: gluten, dairy, eggs, soya, and nuts are the main ones. Also, one missing from this image that's also quite common is processed sugar. And by the way, gluten is in almost all foods you'll find in the supermarket, especially if they've been processed in any way. Gluten is used in some foods to bulk it out and make it bigger. And by the way, if you struggle to lose weight, I can almost guarantee that it's because you're intolerant to at least one of these foods. Because when I first started this journey, I weighed about 17 stone at my heaviest. As soon as I stopped eating these foods that I later found I was intolerant to, I dropped down to 12 stone literally within a couple of months. And that was without doing hardly any exercise apart from going for a walk most days. Now, if you go to the doctors and ask to be tested for these, it will probably come back negative. That's what happened to me, but that's because the doctor's tests look for a very high dose of the item. And unless you've eaten it very recently, it's already moved through your blood. So it's only traces that are left. And so that's why it comes back negative. It's like when I'd eat the food, I'd be unable to breathe for 3 hours afterwards. But the next morning I'd be fine again. So it was like that allergic reaction. Now, how do you test yourself for these foods? Well, first of all, it's not easy, especially the gluten one, because gluten is in so much food out there, but it's probably also the biggest culprit out there as well. But what you do is test one at a time. You completely stop eating the item for 21 days. It has to be 21 days. Don't ask me why, but it's just how your body works. That it takes 21 days for your body to get rid of it, I think. Now, you absolutely need to make sure you're not eating food with it, or you're not eating any food that might contain that, because otherwise it won't work and you'll think you're not intolerant to that type of food. So on the back of the food packaging, look at the ingredients and you'll normally see that the ingredients containing it will be highlighted in bold black letters. It'll either say gluten or it could say things like yeast or barley or anything like that, wheat, oats. Now, after the 21 days, try to have a bit of a feast of that type of food. Don't go wild, because you don't want your body to have a massive reaction to it, but you want to take enough of that type of food in so that you notice the difference in how you feel. And if you're intolerant to that type of food, what will happen is within a few hours, 24 hours at the most, you'll start to feel different. Your energy level will have dropped. Your mood might have changed. You might start feeling a little bit dizzy. You might get a headache, maybe a sore throat. And most likely you might have some physical signs too, such as you might be sneezing. You might have that acid reflux back if you get that. You might have a headache, or your guts might be turning a bit more than they were in the last 21 days. Another thing you might notice during that 21 days is you might actually notice you feel better. So that's also a sign that your body didn't like the food you were eating before. And bear in mind, gluten is in even things like burgers. It's in almost everything. It's in beer, or all alcohol actually. So after you've done the first one, leave that there, wait a week or so, and then start the next type of food and do the same thing again. If you find you're intolerant to one of the types of food, then stop eating that one, especially whilst you're testing the other types of food, because you don't want to mix up that signals that your body is sending to you. Now, the next thing about nutrition and food has to do with waste. Waste comes from two main parts. First is the obvious route through your digestive system, and second is through your organs, and your skin is the biggest organ of your body. So let me ask you a question. What is your skin like right now? Is it greasy? Do you have spots? Is it dry? Do you have any types of rashes or irritation? And what are your sleep patterns like? Are you waking up in pools of sweat in the middle of the night? These are signs that your body is trying to get rid of waste, and the skin is like the last line of defense. Your skin is actually your biggest organ. Now, I wish I knew about this when I was a teenager, because I would get these massive boils all over my body, and I was constantly at the hospital getting this special skin treatment. I took these tablets that made you feel suicidal, and it was all caused by this one thing. And guess what that one thing was? It was all caused by diet. I would drink cans of Coke and eat chocolate bars, just like most kids do at that age. And it was all causing my body to react to it. Because I was intolerant to certain foods that I didn't know about until 30 years later, it meant my skin was the only way that my body could try and get rid of all of this waste. And so it did it, but by filling my skin up with all these disgusting pus-filled boils all over it. It makes sense when you think about it now, but back then I just thought I was some weird teenager that was different to the other kids. So how do you help your body and get rid of this waste from your body? Well, the first method I'd recommend is to an enema. I prefer coffee enemas. If you've not done it before, I'd recommend getting a professional to help you or to do it for you. You can go to clinics and things like that to have it done for you. And then after that, you can learn to do it yourself. You can buy an enema kit really cheaply. I think mine cost about £30, and then the organic coffee you buy especially for it, I think that costs about £15 for a big bag that lasts for about 6 months or more. It has to be organic. You don't want to put any pesticides or anything inside you like that. So that's the first method. And by the way, I'd encourage doing both of these methods together. The second method is to do a water fast. Ideally, a 7-day water fast is best, but if you've not fasted before, you might struggle to do it for that long. An alternative to that is to do a 10-day citrus fast. And that means all you can eat or drink is oranges, lemons, and water for 10 days. With the water fast, all you eat and drink is fresh water. And when I say fresh water, I normally buy about 50 liters of bottled water. I never drink tap water, especially when I'm fasting, because it's full of toxins and chemicals like chlorine. So why would you try and detox yourself, but fill yourself up with chlorine and whatever other crap that they put into it? The idea is you really want to drink a minimum of 4 liters a day when you're doing this, and that won't be difficult some days. Some days I will easily drink 15 liters of water in a day. Now, when you do the enema, you want to if you have a 1 liter enema bag, then you want to make sure that you drink 3 times that as a minimum, kind of in the following 24 hours after you've done that. So a 1 liter enema bag will dehydrate your body otherwise. So you need to take in 3 liters of water as a minimum after that. So how a fast will normally go will be, on the first day, you'll get the usual hunger pains and food cravings. On the second or third day, the hunger pains have normally gone, but you have hangover type symptoms like a headache and sometimes feeling sick. If you gorged on fatty foods before you do the fast, this time will be even worse. So I would avoid doing that before. This is like your body going through that cold turkey phase. If you're doing an enema, the best time to do the first one is the second or ideally third day, because what that does is it gets rid of the food that's in your gut. And it's this food in your gut that's causing the headaches and any sickness feelings that you might be having. So as soon as you've gotten rid of that waste food, you start to feel better. After the fourth day, things start to feel like normal. I don't feel hungry, but I do have that kind of desire to eat something. A bit like when you get a craving for certain food, but you're not actually hungry for it. And one additional tip is to try and do this away from the stresses of everyday life, like work or kids. You'll definitely be more irritable than normal. And I normally try to either take a week off by myself or definitely away from working. And I try to time the second and third days of the fasting around the quiet times, when I know if I want to, then I can just stay in bed and I won't be disturbed. Whilst you're doing this, you'll definitely be a lot more tired too. That's just because this time of fasting it's when your body uses its energy to repair itself. Because normally it spends most of its energy just on digesting food. So whilst you're not eating anything, your body can redirect those kind of workarounds to go and fix your body issues. And it's when you're sleeping and resting, that's when most of the fixer type work is done by your body. So if you're fasting, don't stay watching the TV. Instead, you want to make sure you're getting at least 12 hours of sleep a night. And the last time I did a detox a few weeks ago, I actually fell asleep for 16 hours one day, and it's the longest I've ever slept. When you finally come off the fasting, don't go eating heavy carbs. Eat only fruit for the first 2 days. And that's because your body needs time to get used to food again. I heard of one person who did a 5 day water fast and then came off and started eating chips and other junk food. And he actually died because all of that junk food ended up sticking to his intestines and basically blocked him up. So the fruit, it gets your body prepared for food again, but also it just lubricates everything up again. And the final thing on nutrition I want to talk about here is to make sure you're getting all the right vitamins inside your body. So working with a good nutritionist will help you to do that. I personally don't rate these multivitamin tablets that you get. I don't rate supplements either. If you look at the ingredients, you'll see that there's lots of this filler product in every supplement. And also, if you see the ingredients contain something called magnesium stellate, I've underlined it there. Then avoid it, because this basically stops your body from absorbing the contents of that vitamin or supplements. Now, I'm not a doctor, but that doesn't sound too good for my body to have all this stuff just floating around in my body that can't be absorbed. I prefer to know where my deficiencies are and then try and get them the natural way through eating things. There's so much rubbish out there created by greedy pharmaceutical companies. I don't trust them. You just don't know what other rubbish is mixed up with the vitamins that you're taking from them. So I'd encourage people to work with a professional and get it right, but and preferably through the natural food sources. Now, disclaimer, none of this is medical advice. It's just an example of what I've learned myself. If you decide to do any of it, it's worth getting expert advice before you do it. For example, the first time I did an enema, I almost did it with a liquid being too hot. And that would have meant burning my insides out. I don't want that to happen to you. So use this video as a signpost to say this is an option, and then go and learn more about it yourself. Maybe go along to a clinic and speak to them to see whether that sounds right for you.